So the Community Gardens project is one led by myself and Laurie Beeman as part of the Non-Religion in a Complex Future project. I must declare that I'm actually an outsider when it comes to this non-religious community. I, I've not been involved in community gardens, but the more that I look at them, the more interesting I think they become. This is a photo of Source, which is a community garden collective at the University of Tasmania here. Um, they're really interesting because they're intentionally collective in various ways. So some of them are more individualistic and some of them are more sort of collective and shared. The thing that we're interested in community gardens is the way that we see new forms of relationship in these spaces. So social relationships, often political, trying to make some sort of change. A lot of them are sort of ecologically or um, advocacy or activist in some way, and new forms of relationship with nature, with plants, with the animals, in and around the garden. And I'll talk a little bit more about these. But the thing that interests us from a non-religious for the understanding of the non-religion is what's the structure of these relationships? How can we think of these relationships as significant non-religious relationships? We're trying to think through what it means to be non-religious. And I think at the heart of being non-religious is a structure of community, is a structure of relationships. And community gardens is a really interesting way into thinking about these things because they're of the different structure and organization they have. I'll do a little bit more detail in a minute. I just wanted to start by talking about how exciting I'm finding the method and the structure of the organization of this project. So I don't have a list of the names, but my colleagues in Argentina, Brazil, Canada, Finland, the USA, Norway, the UK, it's just been excellent meeting with this group of other academics and postgraduates from around the world. And then you ask, what is a community garden like in your country? And we find they're incredibly different things. Like, what are you afraid of, for example? Like when we were doing the trekking one, um, people are afraid of different things, or the structure of the gardens are really different. And particularly exciting, I'm finding, is working with the people in Argentina and Brazil, because they're outside of, the sort of um, they're developing, or however you want to structure that, but they're challenging us to think about the world in a more complex way, and I'm finding that really exciting. So the structure of this project and the inclusion of the South American countries in particular is just wonderful, in terms of helping us think about what matters and trying to get outside of that European uh, you know privileged world mindset. Um, what we're planning to do is interview, we tried to do an analysis of websites and public information about the gardens, but that proved problematic because a lot of gardens don't have information online. So we're planning to interview participants in the gardens in each of these countries. Um, uh, I've got Finland there. We've got someone from Norway and Finland. Um, and that's going to be really interesting. We've done a sort of pilot interview with people, trying to see whether our interview schedule will work. But we're asking about relationships and what people do in the garden and how that works. So one of the things that's interesting about community gardens is they're often explicitly ethical. So they have ethical objectives. So it might be that people need food because they don't have enough food. Um, and so people are growing vegetables for food. Or it might be that there's a migrant community that they're trying to include in the community. Or it might be that they're trying to engage in watershed restoration, which is more ecologically oriented. So they're engaged in a bunch of practices that have explicit ethical aims. And I love this term, lived non-religion. as a way of thinking about what's going on here. So yes, there are worldviews, yes, there are values that are important, but at the heart of what they're doing are practices. They're engaged in lived practices and relationships and community building. And so I think lived non-religion is a really interesting way of thinking about what's happening here, creating rich practices and relationships. So at Source, there's a regular working bee on Friday mornings where people get together and work on the garden. And that becomes a space where ethics, relationships, community is built. The other thing that's interesting here is the relationship with the other than human world. My friend Graham Harvey challenged me like 20 years ago to ask the question, what matters to hedgehogs? And I've been asking, what matters to wombats, or I've been trying to get Laurie to ask what matters to turtles. To think about how people build those sorts of relationships with the other than human. And it's not always that the other human is lovely and sweet and nice. You have rats and slugs and things that are trying to consume your food, the plants that you're growing. So it's a complex ethical relationship that people are building with the other than human world. And so I think that's a really interesting sort of set of questions there. How does that work out? And it's not about abstract values, it's about practices. And can we think this is well repairing us, building new and healthier relationships? And that's certainly a goal of some of the collectives. They're trying to, they're thinking about food security, and in some cases, it's a very real sense that people need food to eat. Um, so there's a bunch of really interesting things happening there, and I'm excited to see where that goes. And I just wanted to finish here with a photo of a possum. This isn't actually Trevor. Trevor lives on my house and he runs across the roof most nights. But in community gardens here in Australia, possums are protected species. You're not allowed to kill them, um, and they will come in and eat your plants at night. So you have to think about the possums. And then you have to try and think like a possum. How are they getting into my garden? And what are they doing? And how do I keep them out? So it challenges the gardener to think about their relationship with the other than human in a complex ethical way, to try and protect their food. And I just think that's fascinating about what happens there and how we build relationships, um, and what it means to be non-religious. So there we go. That's me.
Thanks, Doug. Thank you for that flashy PowerPoint. Um, I wanted to mention that we have two projects that come out of the environment area. One is the trekking project and one is the community gardens project, just to remind people of the project structure. And further to that, please do go to our website if you're curious about the project structure. There's a little bit more there that might help you if you're curious.